Greetings, everybody. How y'all doing? I am Laquan. Y'all know I had to represent without saying. So, I want to welcome all of you for participating and attending. Um, those that are coming to this particular class via orientation, Soul Empire, General Assembly. Just want to welcome you. This is the first class that we're having since the rebranding of Emerald. First class that we're having. So this is since the rebranding and recalibrating of Emerald Mystery School. Okay. This class is called Mystery of Myself. This is a very profound, life-changing class. Um, this class will give you food for thought. Um, you'll walk away with a different mindset so that you can have a better quality of life. This class is going to cause you to reflect, question, maybe. Um, but I promise you, when you're done with this class, you'll have a totally different perspective of yourself. This is a self-reflective elective. You'll be able to have the opportunity to kind of look within and be able to qualify. Got my notes here. As I said, this is a transformative class. And basically, we start off with this class so you can be more effective in different spiritual, magical, and mystical modalities down the line. Okay, that's what this really is all about. Before we start getting into spirituality, mysticism, magic, you need to qualify who you are, who you're not, what you are, what you're not, where you reside, and the five chokeholds of the matrix, which would be family, religion, money, validation, and purpose. So you can't fulfill your purpose effectively unless you know the deception of the other nine I just mentioned. So this class is how we're starting off, all right? For some of the second year students or the initiates, um, we're going to be covering some things in this particular class. It's the same class, but there's some things I've added to it. So some of the things that we're going to be talking about, you all are familiar with, and some of it is not. Nobody's familiar with it because, as you all know, I upgrade uh, my curriculum sometimes some of it is every year, some other curriculums are every couple of years. As I evolve, my curriculum evolves, and my students evolve as well. Okay, so with no further ado, let's get into it, family. Okay, all right. So this is Mystery of Myself, and the way I decided, instead of just doing classes and modules and all that stuff, I kind of wanted to do it like a series. Um, I just thought it would be more intriguing that way to do this as a series. So this would be season 1, and this is episode 1. Um, Mystery of Myself. Okay. And the name of this season, which would be considered a module, equates to a module, is Who You're Not. So we're going to be dealing with who you're not in this episode. All right. Class. That's a part of this module. All right. Let's get into it, family. Let's get into it. As I said, this is episode 1, and we're going to talk about Phantom of the Mask, unveiling the illusion of identity. That's what we're going to be talking about. And we're going to be talking about different facets and layers of that. So let's get into it, family. All right, so we're going to be talking about who you are not. Okay, that's what we're going to be pretty much covering in this particular class episode. We're going to be talking about who you're not. Okay? We begin with our journey by confronting the false selves we've constructed, personas shaped by traumas, expectation, survival, and the digital dreamscape. These masks veil the infinite essence beneath, anchoring us to loops of identity that are not even ours. Through introspection, ritual revelation, we will unmask the phantoms and start remembering the soul beneath or underneath. All right? So that's what we're going to be doing. Okay? Before we delve into this, let's get our minds right. So that we can be open to receive. Okay? This is the open invocation. And if everybody can just center themselves and breathe, take 3 breaths in, 3 breaths out, and continue to do that as I read this. And allow this to resonate with yourself. Okay? I call forth the ancient memory that knows who I am beyond my roles, wounds, and stories. May the veils fall. May the mask dissolve. Okay? And this is the affirmation invocation that I want you all to keep in mind subconsciously as we go through this process. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Take a moment. Resonate. All right, let's get into it, family. We're going to talk about what is a mask. Now, we all know what a mask is, but what is a mask in reference to what we're talking about? Okay? We're going to be dealing with 5 symbolisms of masks. Okay? One of them would be the persona mask, and that was inspired by Carl Jung. The next one will be the Kilpat, which falls under the Kabbalah culture. The Archonic identity. We're going to be talking about that one. That one right there is a doozy. Okay? Gnosticism. Okay? And then you have the false Ka and the true Ba. Okay, let's deal with ancient Egypt, ancient Akebulon. Okay? And then we have the cultural and digital identity, which we will be dealing with the modern matrix. All of us have been affected by that in one way, in some shape or another. Okay? So let's get into it. Let's talk about the persona mask, which is inspired by Carl Jung. All right, let's talk about it. Okay? I'm going to read a little bit and then I will expound on it. All right? The persona is a psychological mask created to meet the expectations of society. Jung taught that while it's necessary to navigate the world, over-identification with it blocks access to the self, the true divine core. The persona is that which in reality one is not, but which oneself, well as others, think one is. Okay? I think all of us have dealt with this in some time or another in our lives, dealing with the persona mask. You know what I'm saying? And pretty much, kind of giving you an example. And it's not wrong. It's just, how can I say this? It's not really, I'm not going to say, we're not saying this is wrong. What I'm saying is incomplete. And I'll say it's misplaced. Okay? When we deal with the expectations of society, and I spoke about this, my initiates, second years students, you all should be definitely familiar with this. Um, where we're taught what we do is what we are. Okay, so that's what we deal with. The I am. All right, and a lot of times our I ams is misplaced. Let's keep it 1,000. Our I ams are misplaced. Y'all know what I'm saying? Okay. So a lot of times when it comes to I am, you know what I'm saying, it's misplaced in reference to what we do. Okay. And I spoke about this before. I do dentistry. Dentistry is not what I am. But the way the social construct is set up, keeping it, 1,000, it said, what do you do? I am a lawyer. Let's keep it 1,000, y'all. Someone asks you what you do. Well, we've been mentally terraformed and programmed to identify what we do as what we are and who we are. Excuse me, who we are. So you say, what do you do from it? Oh, I am a dentist. So what do you do? I do dentistry. I'm in the dentist. You barely hear people say that. And when I hear people respond that way, a lot of times it's a telltale sign that that person is definitely conscious beyond the norm. That means they're very selective with their words. They're being a student. They're being studious with their words, accountable with their words, accountable with how they speak over themselves. That means they're aware. They're aware that what they do is not who they are. Okay. So they say, "What do you do?" Oh, I am an engineer. Okay. There's nothing wrong with being an engineer. There's nothing wrong with um, that in its own right, but it's not the totality of who you are. So when someone says, "Oh, what do you do?" Uh, I'm actually in engineering. I engineer software. I engineer. This is something. This we have to separate the being from the doing, and you'll see down the line as we go further in this class what I'm talking about. Okay, so that's the persona mask that a lot of us are not even aware that we wear until it's brought to our attention. You know what I'm saying? Just like now, you all are thinking about it. So you know what? Wow, that's deep. I know for me, when it hit me, it was deep. I was like, wow. And engineer is not what I am. It's what I do. Okay. All right. Let's go to the next one. And if you all have any thoughts or anything like that, make sure y'all put them in the discussion. Okay. Should be a place to discuss somewhere in the portal, or either you all go into the lounge. I'll be posting, something in reference to this particular occult elective, and you all can kind of talk and discuss and build on that. Okay. All right. Let's talk about the Klepat. Klepat. Okay. That's I might have said it wrong earlier. Y'all forgive me. Okay. All right. Klepat. Excuse me. And this is in the Kabbalah culture. So let's read this, and then I'm going to expound on it. Okay. All right. In Jewish mysticism, the Klepat, the husks, are energetic shells that obscure divine light. When we wear a mask, we generate these husks that protect the ego but veil our soul's essence. Think of the mask as a shell built to protect, but it also disconnects. And I'll even go as far as saying it also distorts as well. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us have gone through things, witnessed things that people have gone through that have affected us, and we, hey, I'm not going to go through that. Oh, it won't be me. Couldn't be me. That type thing. And a lot of times where we're trying to, in the moment, give the highest and best to ourselves, there are moments that we have that, and then there's moments where we choose not to be vulnerable or transparent, because of pride or ego. Okay. And a lot of times people look at this as a protective mechanism. They say, well, I apologize. I'm so distant. I have this. It's my protective, mechanism. But the fact that you recognize that's what it is, then you have to qualify what it is and why. A lot of people can't even see the totality. A lot of us are misunderstood. For obvious reasons, some of us have been even mistreated, due to, people, family, friends not being where they should be. No judgment. But, just us being collateral damage to other damaged people. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, it's like people don't know the greatness and the essence of who you are, So the only thing they're left with is assumptions of what you're not revealing, or the totality of who you are that they don't see. I'm talking about who you are that is appropriate for everyone else. What do I mean by that? To give you an example, how many times have a person that all of us have known that one person that was either distant, we call them an introvert, you know what I'm saying, not very sociable, antisocial, and then all of a sudden, just out of left field, they may have had a talent. You found out they could sing like crazy or something. Or it could even have been one of you all, where there's something that would be considered gifted with no argument. You're gifted in some area in your life with no argument. And tell me how many people were shocked. What? You know how to do that? You know how to do this? So this whole time they didn't know these things about you. So sometimes this particular mask excuse people's perspective of you. It also disconnects you from walking in your essence on a constant basis. Some people sit dormant for 5 or 10 years before anyone discovers that they have a certain talent, or you know they're an individual that had the capacity to impart in people. You know what I mean? So this particular mask, not only does it disconnect, it also distorts and skews people's view about the authentic you. And who knows, that authentic you may have gifts that could be embraced, that can inspire, encourage, and edify other people. Okay, a lot of people have had missed opportunities over their lifetime behind this particular mask. Okay, all right, let's go to the next one, family. You already know, I chief. So I'm not on TikTok. All right. The archonic identity. This is Gnosticism. I always have a problem saying this word. Let's read it, family, and of course, as you know, I'm going to expound on this. All right. In the Gnostic texts, archons are false rulers or forces of illusion that keep humanity in a matrix, like a system of control. The mass becomes an agent of the archon, keeping you in the loops of false identity, shame, disempowerment. The more you wear the mask, the more you serve the illusion. This particular mask I'll speak for myself. This particular mask, staying perpetually in the illusion of this false sense of savior. This mask for me at one time um, put me in a position to commit treason to myself. Okay. Um, my perpetual illusion was always putting myself on the back burner, not administering self love to myself. So that's I was a slave to people pleasing. I mean, let's look at it right here. It says forces the illusion to keep humanity in a matrix, a system of control. Okay? The mask becomes an agent of the archon. So my mask was um, a person, of just humility and being able to give. I was, I pride myself in giving to the point that it put me at a disadvantage. And I truly thought that was honorable. Okay. Let's read again. Keeping you in the loops of false identity. And so my false identity is I thought I was being honorable. I thought I was being righteous when I was committing self treason at the end of the day. And when it really counted, I wasn't even in a position to help nobody because I had to deny myself so much that sometimes it put me in a misfortunate season, mentally, sometimes physically, sometimes financially. Now, your story may not be my story, it may be something else. But all of us have dealt with that in one way or another. Mine was people pleasing and trying to make sure that, I'm that good Samaritan type person. Even to the point that if it meant people mistreating me or disrespecting me, um, crossing boundaries, being the turn the other cheek type person. Okay? We're going to loop back around to this one again. I just want to kind of go over and over again. All right? All right, this next one is the false Ka versus the true Ba. Okay, this is the ancient Egypt. We're not talking about ancient Egypt that we're talking about today. That's talking about ancient Egypt. We're not talking about modern society, talking about their version of ancient Egypt. This goes all the way back to pre-Adamic civilizations, which would be Akkadian. Right? Let's read it, family. The Ka is your vital essence. The Ba is your soul's freedom and uniqueness. This is when we get into the balance of being. Okay? All right. The false Ka is the energy form projected outward that isn't aligned with your true Ba. The mass becomes a distorted Ka functioning but disconnecting from soul power. Many people live energetically functional lives, but they are not soul aligned. Okay, I'm going to read this one more time. The Ka is your vital essence. That's the intangible part of you that's aware. Okay, and the Ba is your soul's freedom and uniqueness. That's how the intangible parts of you expresses itself in this reality. Okay, the false Ka is the energy form projected outward that isn't aligned with your true Ba. So when it comes to you want the essence, you want the essence to be balanced with how you tangibly express yourself in this reality. Okay, that's what you want. And so when it comes to um, a form of energy, okay, essence comes from within. An essence of a person comes from within. Okay, and how a person has, let's just say a person has, lived a certain way according to the social construct and the matrix for 10, 20 years, and they've come to a place of remembrance, or they come into a place of awakening. Okay, they come to that place, right? So now they're at a place of awakening. Okay, they thought they were doing good. They're functioning. You know what I'm saying? They've got their degrees. They're married with 2 children. They're picking fence, this and then the other. But there was something still missing. Sometimes the something that's missing is the alignment. Sometimes the something that's missing is your essence. Your essence is dormant. So you've just been functioning with one part of you. When we talk about the Ka and Ba together, that represents what? A triune being, that represents a wholeness. That represents an infinite or eternal being. Okay? Because the human experience is only the expression. That's what it is. The human experience is an intangible life form expressing itself according to the laws and physics of the reality that they're in. So at the end of the day, when you are in this reality and you come to the realization, when you start coming across knowledge that's provoking you to remember, and when all the pieces of the puzzle starts coming together, right, then you realize what was missing. You realize what was off. You realize what was not aligned, because there was a part of you that has been spearheading your reality without the other parts of you, or out of order, out of order. Okay, so a lot of you all have been moving through life. It's not 1, 2, 3. You're moving like this when you should be moving like this. So a lot of you have been moving this the part of you over here, in the back, this part of you in the front, another part of you is back here, So as you're moving through this reality, it should be 1, 2, 3. It should just be one, aligned. The whole triune parts of you aligned. There's not one part of you that's more important than the other. That's another lie they told you. Okay? They'll say that your mind is more important than your body, and your body is more important than your spirit. The moment that you made a decision that you don't remember to participate in this reality, you can come to this reality in parts, whether you remember or not. We weren't compartmentalized here. So your avatar, your body is just as important as your soul. So y'all want people to lie. I don't have no lies to give. It's just as important. One's not more important than the other. Now, who told you all that? So your body is not less important than your soul. When we talk about, let's just say, a ballet dancer, right? It takes her mind, her soul, and her body. All of that together that creates something that's needed by, mind you, it's needed for others to behold. You never hear anybody say, wow, her body's a good ballerina. You never hear anyone say, oh man, that girl's mind, man, her mind is a good ballerina. You already know I'm going to always give you proof, facts, and receipts. When we get into what you are, when we get into the what you are part, you're going to find out your what was a who the whole time. Okay? They taught you. One was more significant than the other. How can you be if what you chose, even if you don't remember, to participate in this reality, it took the whole triune, the whole volume of you to be in the reality and to even exist. So you need the whole volume of you to exist, right? And when I say existence reality, I'm not talking about life or death. I'm just saying being animated, conscious, aware in this reality. Okay? You need to, it took the whole triune being. So a lot of, oh, I'm not my body. People, they try to, they sound deep. I'm not my body. You're not your body. I I I, I want y'all to lament on that, because that's something we've heard all our life. You are not your body. Why do you think they're telling you that? Hmm? Why do you think they're telling you you're not your body? What they say? What's the saying? United we stand, but divided we fall. When you participated in this reality, when you decided, even though you don't remember, or you didn't remember, you might remember now. When you decided to participate in this reality, participate in the human experience, you didn't come here incomplete. Because at the time you made the decision, you were whole. You knew how you were going to express yourself in this particular reality. We didn't come here in fragments. Because as long as you think everything about you is separated, as long as you continue to think that one part of you is more insignificant than the other, then you will never remember that you always was. Y'all want people to lie. I don't have any lies to give you. Let's go on to the next one. I tell you. All right, let's get to the next one. Cultural and digital identity. The modern matrix. Let's read, family, shall we? All right, today's matrix programs us through race, class, gender, trauma, capitalism, and especially social media. Many wear curated personas. I know I've seen a lot of that. I think you all have too. As masks to gain safety, likes, or belonging. But the cost is authenticity, which we don't see that much today, and inner sovereignty. Who would you be without your job title, zodiac sign, or a profile picture? Isn't that something? What I'm about to say is going to be a little off topic, but it's going to be on topic, okay? Because one of the reasons that caught my attention with my husband, Uriva. Some of y'all know him as Bryce. Shaman Uriva. And it kind of goes back to what we were talking about a little while back, okay? Where we talk about what we were talking about when someone says, "What do you do?" and the being, the I am a dentist, or I am a baker, or whatever, you know what I mean. That was one of the things that caught my attention, and that's why I was not moved by a man of status, power, statue, money, because in the back of my mind, because I've had so many wins and losses. All right, I had to go through this roller coaster of being in the pit and the palace and the pit. These were the type of seasons I had in my life over the years. And I went through that um, shifting and shaking. I apologize, family. That's ISIS. I went through the shifting and the shaking because I had to come to the remembrance that I am not what I do. I am not what I created. I am not what I launched. I'm not any of those things. I am what I am and who I am without the social construct. Okay? Without the labels in the matrix. Okay? I was very, 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 very good at what I did. I was very good at it. But I hit a ceiling. I hit a ceiling even when I was the best at what most did. So, how did I get beyond that ceiling? How I got beyond the ceiling is I had to be stripped of it. And I'm not saying that this is the process for everybody because it's not. It was my process, so I could tell you so you don't have to go through the process. Okay? You got to I had so many wins and losses going from the pit to the palace. Palace to the pit, pit to the palace. Because I had to come to the remembrance, realization that I am, with or without money, with or without status, with or without notoriety. So I got stripped down to the lowest denominator, stripped down to the lowest denominator. And the question was, are you still her? Am I still who I am? Am I still what I am? And it took a couple of years because my identity, the what and who I am, was beholding to what I did. It was beholding to what I was good at. It was beholding to my talent. It was beholding to me being the best. So once that was taken away, I'm disheveled in reference to who I am. So I had to keep going through that yo-yo type cycle to come to the conclusion that I'm that B, whether I'm broke, whether I got it, whether I don't, whether I'm up, whether I'm down, whether I'm in, whether I'm out. So in the society that we live in today, you see people they become unhinged when what they've built. I'm not saying you don't be upset about it, but when I see someone that where they consider their essence in what they've done and what they've built, the moment that crumbles, they act like somebody. Their reaction. If you saw some of the reactions of people when they lose everything. Hey, excuse me. I'm doing a class. Sorry, y'all. If you didn't know what the subject was, you would have sworn somebody died. And for somebody that's beholding, their value and their essence is beholding to anything in this matrix, in the social construct, somebody is dying. And that's the false self. So for me, I had a lot of deaths. It literally felt like a death. And I had to go through those ups and downs so many times that I had to outgrow it. When you get hit so many times, it's like you have a training day moment. Y'all remember Denzel from Training Day? But some people, it takes a long time for them to get it. It took a long time for me to get it. But you know what's really crazy? Let me tell you what's really crazy. Is when I revisited the things that I stopped doing because I lost everything, right? When I went through seasons where I was just reminiscing of how good things were and how talented I was and how good I was, right? To the point that I didn't care because I kept losing so many times, right? Right? When I revisit those things, I went from good, man, I'm really good at this. I went from good to great because I finally, as simple as this phrase is, it's just as profound. Because I finally got to a place where what I do is not what I am. What I do is not who I am. If I lose this tomorrow, I'm the same HNIC today without it. And most people in the matrix today are not built that way. They will become completely unhinged because their value is in what they do. Their value is in what they've accumulated. So going back to my husband, you know, when I saw that level of tenacity, because the worst thing you could do for me, this is for me, I can't speak for nobody else, but for me, so the worst thing for me to do is to get with what they would call a high profile man. That wasn't a buzzword back then. Okay. But that's the kind of man. And his identity, how he sees himself, is wrapped up in that. Right? So it's wrapped up in that. And God forbid if something happens where he loses all that, then I'm left with a shell. I had to know that with or without that, you that nickel. I'm saying nickel. I keep forgetting I'm not on TikTok. With or without that. And will I be comfortable with the shell if he lost everything tomorrow? Do I know that he's still that nickel, dimes, quarters, and pennies? And when I saw that, I said, okay, he could lose everything tomorrow. He's still going to be that nickel. That's one of the things that sold me. Because I said, I need to make sure that he's still the essence of who he is. This is who he really is, with or without it. And how was I able to qualify that at that time? Because I had to go through all that hell I went through to come to that essence for myself. Come to that realization myself. And me knowing that knowledge based on what I've been through, because I was up, lost everything. I felt like I died, and I did. I was a shell, on and off for years. But now that I had crossed the threshold, and now it don't matter. Now I got to make sure the man I'm with is the same way. Because what I'm going to do with a shell, people completely become unhinged because they haven't grounded themselves in them being before they were doing. And so they replace their being and identify with the doing. And that's when the doing comes apart. They're completely unhinged. Empty shell on edge. Disheveled, crashing out. I don't have any crash outs anymore. I just, some of you all know, I just went through stuff this year. And okay, what's next? It's almost defiant, because sometimes these misfortunes, sometimes they come through circumstances that you can't help, and sometimes they come through people. Okay, because there are times people look at you and they'll covet. You know what I'm saying? Or they think they the man. Or they the man while they up. Because in their minds, they don't want to believe that that's who you are, even if you were down. And so, well, you know what? Let me see what I can do to strip her down, lowest common denominator. Let's see how she thinks. Lowest common denominator. In the past, I mean, yeah, I wasn't that girl. I was not that girl. Sorry, that's my mother. I'll call her back. I wasn't that girl. And they were glad I wasn't that girl. Oh, she's really not that girl. She was that girl when she was up. This now, I done got hit, but I don't know. Y'all listen. Oh, she got hit. They was happy because people can lie all day, but energy never lies. The next time they saw me, still that girl, still her. I'm her. I'm not her because of that. I'm not her because of this. I'm her because I'm her. You got to choose that. That's a choice. It's not a feeling, it's a choice. It's a knowing. You got to know that you know that you know that you know that you're her, no matter what. Because the moment that you get to that point where you don't matter what the hell you go through, you still her or him. Guess what? The quiz is over. The testing is over. Everything's over. Everything's over. Literally. Now you can go on to the next season. Because I mean, there's only but so much that you can go through here. So now you all understand when it comes to this cultural and digital identity. Have gratitude for the stuff that you've gone through. Because somewhere down the line, as you were going through these ups and downs, somewhere down the line, you made a choice and say, you know what, I'm still her. No matter what, I'm still him. No matter what I'm going through. No matter how people treat me. No matter how people mistreat me. No matter how many people want to clown me. Because how many times have you gone through, they still clowning you down. You're already down. You already lost everything. And they still clowning you. But if you wasn't him, and if you wasn't her, they would have left you alone because their job would have been done right. That was my signal. I said, damn, they still clowning me, and I'm down as low as I can, and I'm still on their radar. I still got their attention. That was one of the variables that brought me to the place that I was not what I do. I'm not her because of what I do. I'm her because I'm her. You're not him because of what you do. You're him because you're him. Period. All right, let's go on to this next one. Okay. So we're at reflection right now. And so I'm going to read this. The mask is not evil. It was created for survival. But in our quest for evolution, we must ask, am I still hiding behind what, well, it should have said what I once thought protected me. Okay? You know how our elders used to say there's a time and place for everything. And when it comes to these masks, instead of them being something temporal, we've absolute our lives on some of these masks that I have mentioned. Okay. And some of us have witnessed people do the same. So it's a lot of it. A lot of times, it's not just our story in reference to these masks. It's people that we've witnessed do the same. You know what I'm saying? Up close and personal, or even from a distance. And so, I want you all to take food for thought and walk away with this part of the lesson. And I recognize, I'll even say with myself, certain seasons of just protection or the protective mechanisms that we use, which I coin as masks. But there's a difference between um, everybody not deserving everybody not deserving to know who you really are or who you are, versus you thinking, okay, this is who I am based on social constructs, family, what has been imposed on us, the matrix, our own personal experiences, whether they've been misfortunes or not. So, with this being said, on this particular class, if you go down to the bottom in your portal, there's an exercise, a PDF. There's an exercise for that. If you like, you all can talk about it in the virtual lounge. And then next week, I think next Sunday, yes, this Sunday coming, I will be on live. You guys will have the links for the lives, and we're going to actually lament and discuss and dissect uh, the exercise and the reflections that I have in your homework. Okay, so the next class will be about what is the purpose of the mask. Okay, this class was pretty much what it is and why. Now we're going to talk about the purpose behind the mask. Okay, or the purpose of the mask. That's what we'll be talking about next. All right, see y'all in a little while on the other side. Let's see. Extending love, light, positive energy to you all and your families. I am Laquan, and y'all know what it is.